He's got a lovely new hat. All right, here we go. 3,
Wear
2,
it to
1.
the premiere, but wasn't allowed.
Shh. All right, everybody, welcome to episode 23 of Vice Press Open Channel. I'm your host for this evening. Oh, he's lost it already. I'm the host for this evening, Florey, along with James Henshaw from Vice Press.
Aloha.
And the mighty Matt Ferguson. There he is. For audio, he loves you, audio listeners. This is a he gives a thumbs. He's a purely visual boy, no sound. So here we are again. Discussing what is it? Things I had a little. I was like, how am I going to intro this thing? If I'm going to have to keep doing it, I have to come up with something. But now I've completely forgotten what it was going to be. So next week, I'm going to smash it. It's going to be so good. But I'm feeling a little bit better this week, so that'll be that should serve us well. No more like, geez, the energy was down. I watched a bit of that back. Last week's was. Whew.
Well, we were talking about a slow energy movie as well, weren't we? So that added on.
It worked out. We were on impulse power. That was it. I was in there on impulse power. Couldn't go to warp 1. I know, right?
Yeah.
Star Trek this week. Star Trek's banned. Yeah, I was sick. For shit, I fell off.
I've been doing different sci-fi this week, so yeah.
Oh yes, you have.
I did watch Star Trek 2 on the train, and then Star Trek 3 on the train on the way back. So I got my fix.
I'll pretend like I didn't already hear literally every single thing about both films. It's just going on and on about Star Trek 3. I'm like, all right, I get it. Spock's a kid. We know.
I'm not gonna do that yet. We'll wait until the poster comes out.
Yes. Star Trek's banned this week. Well, why don't you tell the kids what you have been up to then, Matthew? What have you been up to since last we spoke?
I did the creator poster. So I did a poster for the creator, and then I got to go down to that there London and see a big preview screening of it with all the sort of crew and the director and stuff, and it was really good.
You're with all your famous buds, weren't you?
It was a bit weird. I got to meet Gareth Edwards, and he was really nice. And like I said, that I liked Baby Cart, and I said that to the studio when I wanted to do the poster, because I pitched this poster. I actually wanted to do this one. Not that I don't want to do other posters, but you know what I mean. And I said, the trailer makes me think of Baby Cart. And I just say Baby Cart because that's what I knew, but it's Lone Wolf and Cub.
Oh,
so Gareth was like, you mean Lone Wolf and Cub? And I was like, yeah, sorry, because there's one called Baby Cart. It's Lone Wolf and Cub Baby Cart or whatever. And that's the one that I must have seen. It's that The Last of Us as well, like a dad and a kid. Good movie.
I think so. Me and Florey haven't seen it yet. I'm going to watch it straight after recording this. We're recording this on Thursday. I'm going to watch it after this. I think, Florey, you're planning to see it as well. So hopefully we'll get to chat about it next week.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much. And I want to see it again in normal situation, because when you're in one of those preview sort of screenings and people are cheering and clapping and you're in not your favourite seat,
well,
it's hard to just
triumph.
It's hard to just enjoy the movie because, and the guy next to me there's always, when you clap too many people, the guy next to me was breathing funny. Stop breathing.
That.
It was just breathing, like normal breathing, but for me that was like, you're putting me off.
See, I went to
I'm a strong believer that there should be spare seats. Every second seat should be occupied,
I say I went to a press screening.
Oh, look at that!
Go on, James. What press screening?
I was starting to think there was something
wrong
with
my recording. I'm
interrupted
you this time.
No, yeah. I think I might be lagging for some reason.
Yeah, I think something's going on, but it's okay. We'll push through. James, talk now.
So I went to a press screening of one of the Thor films once. I think it was the Thor 3, Thor 2. And there was she wasn't crazy. There was a lady next to me that got incredibly excited every time Loki came on the screen to the point where she'd leap out of her screen clapping.
Wow,
I was like, that's a lot of love for Loki there. But yeah, that's my weird neighbor at a screening story. There you go. My hair's very floppy. I like it. Growing it out.
Oh yeah. What are you going for? We're gonna put some dreads in or something?
No, I think I'm going to go for 70s kind of Harrison Ford kind of look. Just kind of grow it all like. Oh. We'll see. I might have a skinhead in 2 weeks.
What's Nat got to say about that?
No, this is no.
She's shaking her head right there off camera. Absolutely not.
No. I've always wanted long hair. It's just so thick. It's like a bush. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. That's a good
thing. Also, don't poor Matthew's over here with his chrome dome. You can't tell you. Oh no, my poor thick hair. Oh no.
Look at that, everyone. I used to have such a luscious head of hair. I mean, I've still got a perfectly formed head, so at least I've not got a lumpy, bald head. Because some people who go bald, and it shows them up for the lumpy-headed freaks.
Yeah.
And I've got a smooth, nicely proportioned head. So at least there's that going for me.
You have got a good shaped head. When we had to shave my head for my surgery, it was not a good look. I've got the opposite. I've got a very ugly head. So this is more of a disguise.
What a combo!
But you've got a lovely, luscious Lego man hair.
Yeah, you won't have to worry about
thanks.
It.
Yeah.
It's just like a perfect hairline, isn't it? It's like just.
Yeah. It's like when my granddad died. My granddad died.
People think it's a rug, mate. It's a rug.
When my granddad died in his mid-80s, he had a full head of hair, riddled with cancer, but he had a full head of hair.
That's all that matters. Yeah. As long as you got hair, that's all that matters.
Yeah, well, I'm a failure. I'm complete. My life is over. Doesn't matter what I do. I'm shit. I'm a bald loser.
Oh, you're
an attractive guy. You don't give yourself credit for it.
Honestly, I sent you that picture earlier on of me at that wedding like nearly 10 years ago, and I was like, Jesus Christ, who's that?
I think you look better now.
Yeah, why were you so tanned? What happened?
I used to go outside, I think. I don't go outside anymore, so,
Yeah.
You didn't live in a cave.
And I have sunblock. I never used to do sunblock either, so I'll probably get skin cancer on top of this. And baldness and skin cancer. Great. That's what's waiting for me.
Yeah, I will say this.
Sorry to be on a downer.
No. Florey said the other day, in one of the last episodes, Florey said that we were all looking like absolute hags. And I think, bearing in mind, we're all very nearly 40. I think we look pretty good for 40, because I look back at when my dad turned 40.
Oh, they were rough.
Oh, they had. I mean, different. He did literally work in a mine.
What? He was actually only 12. You didn't realize.
I mean, I worked behind a desk for the best part of 30 years, but and my dad is a good-looking guy. He's very, but at the same age, I think we're doing okay. But I think it is partly down to the fact that, we've had a relatively easy compared to the generations before us. Anyway. Yeah.
Don't put me in no mine. I ain't going down there.
Jesus! Can you imagine?
You can all freeze. I'm not getting the car.
Lads, we're opening up the pits again, and we need anyone. We need you lot. It just starts working on a conscription thing where you just get drafted in to work down a mine.
Let's get political for a second. The way it's going, I wouldn't be surprised because horrible, evil overlords that we've got. Only getting worse.
Yeah. I'd be a conscientious objector. So
can I ask a question? Actually, I want to ask a question because this conversation is probably getting boring now.
Sounded like we all wanted to ask a question at the same time.
Last week, nobody asked any questions. Has anybody asked any questions this time?
Yeah, we've had
I think they have.
Right. Well, then should we do questions?
We shall. We do. Let's. Yes, we shall. We do questions. Do you want me to read them out and then we'll kind of chip in?
Yeah, sure.
You go, Jim.
So, friend of Vice Press, Chris Weston, asked
I saw this one.
Love Chris. Chris is such a nice guy. What's the gang's thoughts on the rumor that Nolan is in talks to make a period set Bond movie? I have thoughts.
What?
But
yeah, I'll go because I've already started talking. That's per usual. This rumor's been around for what feels like forever, right? But I'd never heard that it would be period set. If it is, I'm in. I mean, I'm in anyway, right? But I'd want him to just do one. Like, I know that he would only probably want to do one anyway, to not be constrained by it. But that's the shit they need to stop overall, is like worrying too far ahead. That would be cool. He should make one. They should let him do whatever he wants and not cock it up, and just concentrate on booking someone cool for the song. And that's all the producer should have to do with it. I'd take it.
Yeah.
I agree. However, the one caveat I would add is I really like the fun, like really tongue-in-cheek, older James Bond. So obviously the Sean Connery ones, and then the Roger Moore ones they had a lot more fun to them. And I would just be worried that some of that might not come back. Christopher Nolan. But then again, he's a very good director, so he might just be able to do that. But all of his films so far have been very, very serious, you know?
And getting more serious. He's not known as an absolute joker. I don't think he's like rolling out little knee slappers to the crew while he's on set, you know? Like
the quips. There's not going to be any like quips about like inappropriate
It would be a hardcore espionage tale with like some really like gadgets that you almost have to crank dial. Like he's going to go that far kind of back, you know?
Yeah.
Which is cool. But that's why I'm saying I just want one. I don't want like that morose thing for like 10 years. Just give me one.
No. What do you think, James?
I'm on the same page as you two. I think I'm going to take both points separately. So the period set thing, I think, is absolutely the way that they're going to have to, or would be. They don't have to do it, but the problem is now action movies like the Bourne films and then the Mission Impossible films and even the James Bond films, every time they've released one, it's upped that ante. The ante's got up. The action's up, the gadgets are up, the inventions are up. So I think the only way that James Bond can pretty much stand out from that is to be retroactive almost in what it does. And the period set stuff. So I'm a huge Bond fan. My favorite Bond films are, and yes, I know they're problematic, but I think they're a snapshot of the era, is back to like the Sean Connery period.
Same.
Where, and even I like the Roger Moore ones a lot. Like Sean Connery plays it very straight. He knows he's in stupid situations. He knows his kind of everything around him is kind of ludicrous and whatever, but he plays it quite straight and he's got that cheeky little wink in his eye. I have the same concern. So like Nolan's films are all very good. They're not all to my taste. Like they're all very good films. They're not like Interstellar. I hated because I just don't like existential stuff. But I like the Inception. I really liked Inception.
Oh, I don't want to be negative, but
you don't like his films. Just you can say if you don't.
No,
like
I do.
Okay.
Dunkirk is amazing. Dunkirk is an absolutely brilliant film. The Prestige is a really, really good film. Batman Begins is pretty much a perfect Batman movie. My problem lies in those ones where people think it's like 2001 Space Odyssey or something like Interstellar, and it's just not. Yeah. It's dumb. It's a dumb sci-fi movie pretending to be this super thoughtful meditation on life and stuff, and it's not. And it lays it all out on a plate for you.
Yeah, it's the same as Tenet.
And that's my problem with Inception as well. It's just they're going in dreams. They're like, oh, wow, this is amazing. And like the visuals are really good, yes, but they're just going into people's dreams. Freddy Krueger did it first.
Well, it's the same as Tenet. Tenet's not as clever as you think it is.
That's my problem. Is the way that they're received as the second coming, essentially, and they're really good movies. But I don't think they're half as smart as they're presented to be. In my opinion, so it's a separate issue, really. If they were just like, here's a fun sci-fi action movie, I'd go, cool, I'm enjoying that. But it's like that sort of slightly pretentious air that just drives me nuts.
The problem is that he became he became a name, and then it became this like air of,
isn't it? Yeah.
the air of Christopher Nolan film, and I'm like, no. I've seen Tenet. Okay, that movie fucking sucks, and it's stupid as hell. I don't care what you say or how clever you think you are. I'm telling you, I've seen it, and I understood it, and I hated it, and it's dumb. So to get back to the Bond thing, though, I take just one point on that. You've actually talked me out of it. Like, I still want him to make one, but I take back, let him do what he wants. Put a writer with him. Let someone else write it with him, and don't.
It's like Batman Begins is the best of the Batman trilogy. I don't care what anyone says, because like Dark Knight's amazing because of Heath Ledger's performance, but it's not actually as good a narrative. It's not saying as much, I don't think, and it's not got a truncated ending. Like the whole ending with Two-Face is so like over and done with in 5 seconds.
Well, I like the way
Begins is an amazing movie, though. I think that's brilliant.
The way my wife put it, because that's one of the only things that she like was made to watch in that genre, because she doesn't really do the comic book stuff. But she said, "Oh, that's the one where it's a movie, but then it's the movie finishes and then the movie starts again." And I said, "Yes, that's right."
Yeah.
So she put it that way, and I thought, "Yeah, that is a problem."
Should have saved Two-Face for the third movie and done a whole movie of Two-Face.
I'm going to come back to Goya in a minute, because I've got thoughts on Goya. But but with just going back, I want to go back to the Bond thing. I want to go back to the Bond thing because, so period set, 100%. Yes, I keep shaking the table. I'm all in for that. I have reservations about Nolan, because to me, I think you need to. This is going to sound controversial, and I'm not saying these two specific filmmakers. I'm saying the tone in which these people make films. One of them, when he's absolutely on it, definitely. But you've got people like Guy Ritchie. The tone of Guy Ritchie's films, Man from U.N.C.L.E., had quite a fun tone. It was a fun film. He is kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of way of doing it. Even Quentin Tarantino, like when you look at things like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Inglourious Bastards, those kind of more old school. I don't think those two should do it, but I'm just kind of using them more as a touchstone for tone, I guess. But then you've got the guy that did Kingsman and Layer Cake. Maybe not the latter Kingsman.
No.
But I think. But again, I know
what you mean, though. They're more in the sort of style of a Bond. How about this, though? How about none of this? None of these guys. How about the Barbie team? Give them James Bond. See what they do.
Absolutely. And then
they're smart people, and they make that film's very cinematic, Barbie. So they could make a great Bond film.
And then you throw people in, I think Aaron Taylor-Johnson, for example, is a good choice for a kind of tongue-in-cheek, wink, kind of Sean Connery style Bond.
Everybody wants Henry Cavill, don't they?
I don't
really want Henry Cavill.
No.
Who wants that?
No.
I don't know. Lots of Henry Cavill fans, I guess.
You know what I like more about Henry Cavill than the best thing about Henry Cavill is when he doesn't act. When he's just
all the
being a big old nerd.
Amazing. He's so cool.
He's a great guy, but don't be in anything because he's dull as dishwater.
You say that,
I'm
but
sorry.
Then in that Mission Impossible, he is incredible in that Mission.
Well, he's a physical force, right?
Shotguns.
Even in his Superman stuff, he is he does present well physically. Like that's his acting.
He looks good on camera,
style.
So I can see why people would want that. But another James Bond movie would be good.
Yeah,
so
just make
maybe not a bloke, maybe not that. It's just something a bit different and fresh. Because people forget, Casino Royale was like that. It was like a real After Die Another Day, was it, or whatever? Casino Royale was like, ooh, that's back to basics. So back to basics.
Yeah, just get on with doing stuff.
That I was going to make a point about David Goyer. David
is he the writer?
So he wrote Batman Begins, and he also wrote a couple of the Blade films, which I've rewatched those recently. David Goyer is one of those people. Which is the point I'm working up to. Like David Goyer is one of those people where he kind of, when he's writing and he has another creative with him.
Yes.
Like they balance each other out, and the kind of the best bits from both. But then when you throw in a David Goyer on his own, you get a Blade 3. That kind of thing. So like with Batman Begins, there was Nolan, who's very kind of Nolan-esque, and then David Goyer working together, they kind of did that. But
he might be the most Nolan-esque person.
Yeah, possibly so. But
well, we don't know like his kids or his parents. Maybe they're like even more Nolan-y.
Yeah, but thanks for that question, Chris.
Well,
That gave us.
Could you imagine?
That gave us 15 minutes of content. That's good, isn't it?
Good.
Yeah.
Let's hope there's nothing that sets everybody off with rage, because you know what it's like when you say you don't.
Yeah. Well, this is what the internet really...
We just need to make that clear. Just because we're saying we don't necessarily like it doesn't mean it's bad if you do.
Correct.
Yeah, who gives a fuck what we think?
Well, I say stuff online, like I say I like this, and people will come at me.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right.
To the point where
that's
I have to delete tweets and stuff, and I'm like...
That's all like when James said there's going to be a bit of...
Star Wars or something like that.
James said there's going to be controversy. I was like, oh, great, finally. That's what we need. Get us up in the rankings here. Need to talk some shit.
Everybody's
is there any more questions anyway?
There's a few. Everybody's favorite. The thing I remember is everybody's favorite film or everybody's least favorite film is somebody's favorite film, right? And you're not in a position to tell them they're wrong. No one's in a... there's kind of stuff that's objectively bad or kind of not particularly well made, but even those are going to be somebody's favourite films.
You can explain yourself, and you can say why you don't think, say, Man of Steel is a particularly successful Superman movie, but it doesn't mean that if other people think it is, that's a problem, because they're allowed their opinion. And surely you're allowed your opinion as well, and that's the problem that you get in like discourse, especially online nowadays, is if somebody's got a different opinion, they're for it.
I've never understood. I've never cared what anyone else thinks about anything. So like, maybe we could all just try that. It's really easy. I couldn't give two shits if nobody, the people don't like stuff I like. Who gives a fuck?
I know, but like, I've found it's very difficult when you've got loads of people following you or whatever, and you want to try and seem...
I do not.
You want to try and seem like level-headed or whatever, but you also want to be a person.
I get what you're saying.
And it's difficult because there'll be people that just say you shit, and you're like, what?
Well, maybe you are.
Oh yeah. Well, I love Star Trek 5. We'll bring it back to Star Trek, everyone. I love Star Trek 5.
He's back.
Apparently, that's a bad.
I'm going to cut that bit out. I figured why my internet was being crap. I didn't have my hard line in, so we should be okay.
Oh, you absolute peanut.
Yeah.
All right, next question.
And if you want to send a question in, you can email us at openchannel@vice-press.com, or you can message us or comment, and we'll try and pick out. We're quite bereft
just come up to me in the street.
Come up to him in the street. It's fine.
See how that goes.
Matt, you've got your at Cineworld on... that will have happened by the time this goes out, so there's no point plugging that.
I'll have signed some stuff at a cinema, but it's too late.
So, John Griffiths asked, this is probably more for you two, I guess, because I don't create shit. Best feedback an actor or director has given?
An actor or a director?
I think that...
Yeah.
What, just someone about on the podcast, or like how much they love the podcast?
Just to you. I guess he's asking towards your work. Like what kind of, have you ever received any feedback from anyone that's been involved in making films or things that you've designed? And I guess we can extend that out beyond actor or director. Just the best feedback that you've ever been given for something you've done. Okay. The thing that stuck with you.
Twitter opens up doors, doesn't it? Or it did before everyone was off the thing, because it's a fucking nightmare. But I do recall vaguely the chaps behind the Black Phone. Robert Cargill was the writer, and Scott Derrickson, I think, was the director. They are both active on Twitter, and when I did my Doctor Strange poster, they also did Doctor Strange, the first one. When I did my Doctor Strange poster many moons ago, like I noticed they both followed me and just sort of like, commented like, "This is cool," or whatever, because they were in it. They were like involved in it, and that I remember thinking that was real cool. And they're nice guys. I've spoken to them a few times on the old Twitter there. That's
he seems like
I don't really get.
He seems like a nice dude though, Scott Derrickson. He seems quite involved.
They're really cool.
They seem legit, those guys. And just quietly, like the best thing they ever did was get out of the Marvel machine after one shot, because the Black Phone's an incredible movie. and I can't wait to see what they do next.
I've got that on my
Matthew,
watch list, so I should watch that.
It is good.
Well, I don't know, really.
You've had all sorts, haven't you? You've met.
I know I've had all sorts, but I just met the
talked to Gary.
You literally just met Gary Edwards.
I shook his hand and he said, "Come get a drink," which was nice. But he was just obviously being just a swarm of people around him.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not really feedback, but I think the time when we went to New York Comic Con and Taika Waititi went out of his way to say, "I want to meet the guy that's done that Thor poster," because I had a Thor Ragnarok poster at New York Comic Con, and we went and gave him one and spoke to him in a lift, and that was really nice. And it was nice because I was my usual self. I think the interaction that was good about it was he was like, "How's it going? How's the convention or your weekend going?" And I said, "Well, I'd rather be in a bar," and he just said, "Me too," and that was it. Gone.
Well, that's
so,
I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, even I think me and Matt might have been talking about something similar. But the whole like idolizing directors and especially actors, because you got to remember these are the biggest fucking nerds of the world.
Just people
like,
as well, aren't they?
They're just creative weirdos that are just really, really, really into their thing. They've tried really, really hard to get somewhere, and they've managed to make it, right? If people forget that, like, Brad Pitt, when he was the weird theater kid that probably got picked on, do you know what I mean? Like, and then he became sexiest man in the world for 48 years. I don't know. And even Tiger, like, he's just a dude. What did he say? He was like, people were like, "Oh, why are you working so much? Why are you going to like every party in the world? Why are you doing everything?" He's like, "Oh, because I had a rest for about 35 years. And now I'm actually doing stuff. Like, now I'm out there." They're just people. Yeah. Everyone needs to.
Well, I never do the picture thing either. So, like, I met in the workplace or going to these events. I've met lots of famous people or brushed up against lots of famous people. Just stood next to them.
Purposely.
And I never want to take a. Oh yeah, no, I never want to take their picture or say hello because I don't like it when people do that to me.
Yeah,
when
just
people
be normal,
come up to me, I'm not talking like about like, are you a hotshot artist, famous? I mean, just in general, I don't like talking to people. So like, I don't like going to the shop because I have to talk to somebody. Although it's quite good because nowadays you don't, because there's a machine that you can use. Self-scanning's great in my opinion. I'm antisocial because I'm in my little cave drawing pictures, and it is like work. So when you go to one of these events and you're like talking to people, it's kind of like you have to put a different face on. So I just don't want to add to that. So I don't do the pictures. Although they did take a picture of me and Gareth last night.
You're quite good at keeping
a man with a camera anyway.
Things on the down low as well, like because you've been, because I've been in with you and we've been in some pretty fantastical situations, and it's not like you go and plaster it all over social media and stuff, or kind of do posts going, "Oh, my mate such and such." It's like that kind of thing.
I don't know them. You might like walk past them, or they might stand for 5 seconds and say hello, or and no, I don't.
The nicest thing I think, just in general, with all of this, is when somebody involved with any of the stuff that we create or you create kind of turns around to you and goes, "I like that. Good job."
That's what I mean. That's what I liked about the Taika interaction. Because they came to us and said, "Can Taika meet Matt because he likes the poster?"
Yeah,
and it's like it's different. Then I feel like, oh, that was nice.
Yeah,
he hasn't had to do it
because the big thing.
Yeah, he didn't have to say that, or his assistant didn't have to say that. They set it up.
They went out of the way to do it. And the thing, one of the big things that stands out for me is very early on when we did some Attack the Block posters, when Joe Cornish went out of his way to email us and say, "Thanks for doing these. These are really nice." And that kind of, because I was an Adam and Joe fan when I was a kid, as probably a lot of us that are listening, like it was our generation, and it was just nice. That kind of was just a nice thing to get. You don't go over.
It is nice, and I'm not lying. It's nice. It's like when I did the Return of the Jedi signing. A bunch of people showed up, and I signed a bunch of posters, and they were really nice. It's really nice, especially when there's kids, and the kids are like, "Did you
that would be my
this? Did you draw this?" And I go, "Yeah, I did draw it." And they're like, "How?" And I'm like, "Lots of hard work, kid."
Yeah, get your pencil out now. But that would be my point. Like, it's actually, as much as it's nice to, like, a director or something says something, I found it way like 10,000 more times. Like, just some dude, like one of you lot out there watching this show, comes up and says like, "Oh, I've got that poster on the wall at home." That means 10,000 times more to me.
I love it. It's the best.
And what kills that is when they go,
says, "I really like your pictures, and I've got them."
Yeah.
But what kills that is when they go, "I got it off Etsy."
Yeah.
It's A2.
I printed out the JPEG myself. It's a little bit blurry, but it'll do.
Yeah. No,
right, here's one. Here's a new one for £50. There you go. A proper job.
Yeah. Right, we've got a question from. Oh, it's a double question. CC Angelio. If you see this,
cool name.
If you'll see this, and I keep forgetting to email, but I would love your thoughts on Indy. We'll come back to that because Florey's not seeing Indy because
absolute.
Yeah.
Indy Jones.
Waste of space.
Oh,
Indy Jones.
Watching Indiana Jones.
Seems like that's a lot of hard work, 2 hours. Jeez, come on now. I'm a 90-minute movie man, I'm back in 90-minute movies. Sorry.
But he says, in general, if all of you, so what are your favorite classic horror movies, and what you'd like to work through?
Ooh.
We've kind of done a lot of horror recently. We have been properly...
I mean, I'll get started because Florey will talk a lot about horror movies because he likes horror even more. I used to be a hardcore horror fan, and I don't watch as much anymore. So I don't watch many new ones, really, which I kind of feel a bit sad about. But John Carpenter, so Halloween, is pretty much number one for me. And then The Shining, the Stanley Kubrick movie, is an example of a perfect film. Well, I mean, his films always are. They're like meticulous. So, but it's terrifying. So those two I would love to do. I mean, I've done Halloween. What I'm saying, I've done post for Halloween.
Yeah. You've done it more than once, I think.
The Shining.
Still never seen The Shining.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
That's one that we should watch. That's one that we should watch for this, to be fair.
Yeah,
I don't even need to watch it because I've got it memorized.
Also, she'll watch that with me as well. It's just so off-putting, and it's not a slasher, and it's not like ones nowadays. It's just a sense of dread from the very beginning, even when he's just going
do a screening for that.
We will. He's just going for his job interview, and it's like it should just be a job interview, and it's like it's so unsettling, and it just keeps on going and getting more and more just dreadful. Like the vibe, it's so good.
The Shining's actually one of those that I can't. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that would be cool. That'd be a great one to do for the film vault. I think if we can encourage Warner Brothers to do that, that'd be great.
I'd do anything for it because it's it's one of the greatest films ever made. It's one of those where it's like, I've seen it. It'd be in my top 5 of most watched, easy. I just used to put it on all the time, but it's still scary. I still get scared, so I don't like watch it at night. It'd be like it's like a daytime working thing because the music's so good and like the languid pace of some of the you got those long helicopter shots, and then there's the weird stuff around when he's just cruising on his trike and through the. I could.
It's a mood.
It's a mood. Forever.
That film. It's like a mood, and it's like lots of sort of weird vignettes and stuff. And you think, and it's like it's a bit like a dream as well. It's so weird, and it's not like a horror like Psycho or Halloween. And that's interesting for me to think that my two favorites are Halloween and The Shining because they're like the polar opposites.
Yeah, totally. And I would say the same exact
so
thing.
low budget and just smash and grab, but it's an example of a perfect film. Halloween, it's just perfect.
Now you've made this hard for me because they are probably my two of my best as well.
Well, what about modern? Because you watch a lot of new ones. So is there any modern ones? Because I've not really watched many modern horror.
Really was a big fan of Talk to the Hand, which we talked about the other week. But I watch most of them, and I know you hate them all, but they're like all the A24 stuff that they're putting out. I think they're like easily the most solid. Like they're putting out everything now. It's either Blumhouse or A24 are the only two putting out anything.
Before James goes and says what he likes, I thought of a modern one that I did really like.
Oh, okay.
Babadook.
Oh yeah,
that was good.
Babadook was brilliant. I really like that movie.
That fucking the way the way the child is used in that film to get you on edge from the beginning, like because he's the kid's a bit off, so it's just constantly screaming, and the way they've mixed the sound that it like starts to drive you down the way it drives her down, which is why. And then when all the spooky stuff starts, it just hits you so much more. That's one I can't watch again either because it's too scary. I get the spooky. I get the spookies.
Go on, James. What about you?
I think we've done I'm more of a fan of horror that's got an element of not comedy per se, but is more of a bit of a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, like the Raimi-esque kind of horrors. So we've done
Evil Dead,
yeah. So we've done Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2's like one of my favorite films. I'd still love us to do Army of Darkness. We've been trying to do Army of Darkness for a while.
Secret, I like Army of Darkness more than Evil Dead 2.
Really?
I don't.
I love Army of Darkness.
He's brilliant.
It took me aback when I watched it the first time. I was just like, hang on, because I'd seen Evil Dead 1 and 2 like a whole bunch of times before I watched Army of Darkness. But when I saw that, I was like, what? This is not what. Like, it was just too far away, and I was too young. It was too far away from what I expected to be happening. And it's easily the best made one of those first three. Like, it's an actual movie. The other two are just like sort of really slapdash, rubbish. But they have their charm. But I never really got into it the same way as the others. Yeah.
Wait, I really like skeletons, and they're just like obviously just rubber.
Because
in the eye, and he goes like that.
Stuff like The Frighteners. I like The Frighteners a lot.
Oh, that was a good one back in the day.
Oh yeah, The Frighteners was a good one.
Tremors, those kind of that kind of like Beetle. They're not like not all out.
PG-13.
Yeah. But then
a spooky subject matter, but not a horror movie.
But it doesn't matter. It's like Poltergeist isn't really like a super duper.
That's on one of mine.
Grot bag. It's a really good
Poltergeist.
movie, And same with one like The Frighteners. It's kind of like an action horror almost, but still really good.
It's like, but then you kind of get stuff like, there's been quite a few modern horror, like The Guest. Would you categorize The Guest as a horror? That was, I really liked that. Like Your Next, stuff like things that are a bit more of a kind of, to me, a good horror film is an hour and a half long. It's silly. Yeah. It's got an element of humor in it. It's kind of not, but then, there are really good ones. I watched Evil Dead Rise the other day. Yeah, I keep meaning to watch that. I haven't watched that. Yeah. I watched Evil Dead Rise the other day. And it was a good film. So if you take Evil Dead out of the title, it's a very good film. It's very well made. It's kind of got some kind of freaky bits in it. It's not as brutal as the trailers make it out to be. It's a lot more watchable than I think the trailers make it out to be. Still like, but it's not. It doesn't have that kind of Evil Dead kind of blueprint in it for me. And I don't want to be. Yeah, I don't want to be one of those because there's been some pretty in some of the fan groups and stuff. There's some like pretty vitriolic comments. Most people, for the most part, are like me. It's a good film, very good film. Maybe not quite doesn't fit in tonally with Evil Dead, but actually we'll take it because it's got those threads running through it. But then I don't necessarily agree with all these guys. Oh God, no, it's not right. It's not got Bruce Campbell and it's not got Ash. Well, it takes kind of that core thing. It's very much a modern horror film. It's a modern Blumhouse horror film with a little bit of Evil Dead sprinkled on it.
Would it be right to say that its tone is like smack bang in the middle of the first remake with Jane Levy and Evil Dead 2?
100%.
Like,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's what they should have aimed for, in my opinion. So
you want it to be like modern, but also still have some of the action. Because Evil Dead 2 is kind of got action film elements to it, and like what equips.
Yeah, I preferred the Jane Levy Evil Dead to Evil Dead Rise. Yeah, I think
I've not seen it.
But yeah, it was good.
It's just like so much. It's just so. It has none of the. Well, that's in that they literally stripped away any semblance of comedy or anything. So it is just a hardcore, like gross horror thing. And to me, that was better because they weren't trying to emulate anything. It was just the idea of like, what if there were demons in this house? You know?
Yeah.
Well, there's room for both because there was the TV show, which was very Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness. The TV show was great. I loved it.
Yeah, it was fun. I liked that.
Just use Evil Dead as a banner for different things. Who cares?
It's like they should go back to the original concept for Halloween 3 and do Halloween as a franchise and just do a different one each year that's got very tenuous links.
Like anthology, like take that anthology kind of
would be great for Halloween going forward.
What I don't understand,
they've done it to death now. Michael Myers is finished, so maybe let's just do Halloween and do witches and another scary cat one. You know,
they won't, but they should.
Halloween
I agree.
Stuff.
What I would take
Halloween 3 deserves
what I would
a
take
sequel,
for
stroke reboot, stroke kind of set in that kind of thing.
It's terrible, but it has good ideas. That's what I'd say for Evil Dead 3. But I think what they should do with Halloween is stop trying to give him any character or any background or anything like that, right? Because they're gonna keep using Michael Myers. It's just the way it is. It's an iconic thing now. He should just show up at a place on Halloween and kill the fucking bunch of people, right? Mm-hmm. We need good directors that can take the first 15 minutes to show us who these kids are and what this town is, and so that we care enough when they get killed. That's the thing that David Gordon Green's, the first one that he did well. Because he got his mate in that could write snappy dialogue and funny dialogue really quickly and give us a little quick punch of character, and they all just get murdered. That's all we need. They should make 90-minute annualized Michael Myers films where he's in a different town with different people every year, and they just can't stop it. And that's all.
That would get boring. I think just different stuff. I want a possessed cat one, or witches, or you know, I don't know, spiders attack a town. You know, Halloweeny stuff. Bats. They could just do Halloween.
But that's just going to be like the Goosebumps thing that they've got going, or Fear Street, or something like that.
Yeah. Have you watched?
I guess they just think.
Is the new
Michael Myers is
played out? Because that looks quite. The new Goosebumps looks quite good.
No, it'll be soon though. I'm sure it's been made.
Right, let's move on to another question quick.
No, I had one more film. I had one more film.
We're going to run out of time.
An American Werewolf in London.
Oh yeah,
you've got a poster on sale.
Today.
It might not have sold out by the time this video goes.
Oh yeah, I forgot that this goes up.
If it's not sold out, buy it.
It's the reaction to it online has been one of our. This is a really bad sentence. Highest reacting things.
I always
don't jinx it.
Curse.
You can jinx it now.
Jinx it. Yeah.
Right, one last question, like Matt said. Go.
Yeah, thanks for your question, CC. Let's have a look. We'll skip that one because it's boring.
Was there any in my fan group? Because I said
most of these are from your fan group. The boring one was it's not boring. Gord Lacey asked, "How does licensing typically work?" Magic.
Wow, that's boring.
Yeah.
No one cares.
But thank you. Thank you for trying.
Sorry.
Stuart, it's complicated. Stuart McIver asked, 40 years of Transformers next year. Sounds like a good opportunity to commemorate. That's not a question, that's a statement. But we could ossify the sentence. Sounds like a good opportunity to commemorate.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah. I agree.
If only they'd do something with Transformers.
I just got this week. Look at that, boy. Ultra Magnus.
Matt's showing Ultra Magnus.
Yeah, whatever. Chest opens up, he's got a matrix inside.
Oh, cool.
Anyway,
well, he's going to lose that in a minute, isn't he? Fucking loser.
I love flipping Transformers. So, yes. But I love the 86 movie. So, more than the G1 show.
Yeah.
Not that makes much difference because I still like drawing robots. So the answer is yes, and yes, I am going to do something for the 40th.
Cool.
I also love Transformers and would also love to do more Transformers things. It's just a shame we can't make any movie posters except for that one. Because that's all we got.
Yeah.
Sure, it's the only one.
So we don't. Vice Press doesn't have the license. We work with Bottleneck Gallery, not Bottleneck.
Jesus, James.
More Art Gallery. Yeah.
More Art Gallery. Who have the license to that? So yeah, it just have to be, as long as we're not kind of gurging out the same old stuff. But Matt and Florey are such fans that I guess we could come up with something unique. And there's loads of cool artwork. People have been asking since we did the quad for the movie. Folks have been asking about the one sheet and stuff. There's loads of stuff.
The one sheet it's weird. It's got Ultra Magnus in as the main character, and he's a dweeb that gets blown up.
What I'm saying
says the guy that just spent $150 on the goddamn toy.
He's the coolest looking toy, and he looks awesome, and he's massive. But in the film, he's just like, I can't deal with that right now. And then they shoot his arms off. And then he gets repaired and they bring him back to life. And everyone's like,
I love it, though. It's so good. It's so stupid. Why does he sound that way? Why is he that guy from Unsolved Mysteries? Like, who made that decision?
Brilliant. Robert Stack, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll 100% do something for the 40th. I think definitely for the movie, because the movie's 86. Do screenings. We're on the subject of screenings. We're working with a company at the minute
to put out like a home video release,
maybe do something special. Doesn't have to be posters. But yeah,
we're talking about doing more screenings, aren't we?
Yeah. The Vice Press Movie Club. We're looking at calling that. So we'll have more information about that soon, because we get moaned at a lot because we do stuff in the north. We get moaned at a lot because we don't do stuff in America. We get moaned at a lot we don't get moaned at a lot. We're going to try and do them all over the country.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, try and do a little bit of a traveling thing. So you best bloody come, otherwise we're not doing them anymore.
I'll host one down here for you guys. It'll just be me in my house by myself watching whatever I
want. Do Razorback, because that's a good Aussie movie.
Yeah,
that's the only film I've ever made.
Razorback.
I've actually bloody never seen it, mate. Tell you the truth.
Never seen Razorback? It's awesome. The guy's like, Razorback bloody killed my family, and then he's like trying to get the razor. This big pig.
That was pretty good, actually. I'll give you that accent there.
Yeah, it's better than mine.
It's the same director who did Highlander, so it's that sort of level of horny shit. It's really good.
It came to my knowledge when Quentin Tarantino said it was one of his favourite films around that Grindhouse era, like he was talking about all that crap, and he loves Razorback.
It's Jaws with a pig.
You know? I know what it is. I just ain't seen it.
And like it's like you just see close-ups of like its eye and it's a tusk every now and again, and it like eats people. And the old guy's like,
bloody Razorback.
You would have to hunt this down and watch it. So my homework for this week is to get The Shining on 4K and try and find Razorback.
Cool. That's it.
That's it for questions.
Well,
should we do recommendations? Should we do recommendations? That thing that we said was going to be a regular thing that we keep tapping on the end because we forget about it. That thing.
Yes. What are we recommending? What is everyone? Yes. I don't know. I'll think. Someone else talk.
I'll say The Creator, because it's the kind of film that should be supported in cinemas because it's an original idea. It's very well directed. Visuals are incredible. Like, I found myself thinking every now and again, and that might be a problem because I was taken out of the movie, but I found myself thinking like, oh, hang on a minute, that can't be real. Well, it was so real. I've not seen compositing that good in a long time. Maybe since like Endgame or one of those, where they had like all of the money in the world. But this was done on the cheap, relatively.
Well, are we sure that he didn't just chop the back of some kid's head out? Are we sure about this?
It's incredible. The little kid, and she is just so good in it as well, the actress. Unbelievable.
Just drilled through Ken Watanabe's ears.
And then they've not shown it in the trailer, but there's some robotic stuff with some of the humans as well, you know, where they've got like prosthetic limbs and things, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk.
Really good.
But I do agree. I think the thing with the creator, whether it's a original film, it's a low budget film, relatively speaking, people moaned when Prey wasn't in cinemas. I think it's one of those I really hope people make an effort to go out and see. Even if, like, there's this, we'll talk about it more when we watch it, but there's this thing online where it's the best thing since Terminator 2 or blah, blah, blah. It doesn't have, there's nothing wrong with a film just being a solid, good film. Just go and watch a film. Just go and enjoy it. And like,
it's one of those, like, I can see why people are saying like Terminator 2 in a way, and your District 9s and your Ex Machinas and sci-fi films like that and Blade Runner. It's one of those where, I know Terminator 2 was a success on release, but it's one of those where I think over time, people that are younger that see it now would probably think, that's my favourite movie. So the elements in it that maybe don't like hit, because there's always that in every movie. It won't matter because you'll just think about all the best stuff. It's like Blade Runner is quite a hard movie to watch. It's quite boring. It's got a really central performance. He's very unlikable, isn't he? Harrison Ford. You don't like him as a character. But it's one of the best science fiction movies ever made. It's incredible. And this one's kind of got potential in 20 years to be regarded like that, maybe, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's some images in it that are just like, and then all I'll say is the dog. The dog is a good boy. I loved it.
What is my recommendation? My recommendation this week is Brian and Charles. I watched a film called Brian and Charles, which is a little English film.
Is that the one where he's like a washing machine robot?
Yeah, makes a robot out of a washing machine. It's hilarious. It's sweet. It's kind of a film about standing up to bullies. It's a film about kind of just having confidence in yourself. It's just lovely. It's a really lovely film. It's very funny. It's quite short, an hour and a half. It's a Sunday afternoon film. I missed it at the cinema. I was going to watch it, but didn't get around to it. Finally sat down and watched it the other day because I think it was on like Netflix or something. Banged it on. Yeah, just if you got an hour and a half, something to do on an evening or something like that, put it on. It's very, very, very sweet. Have either of you two watched it?
It's the chap from... No, I haven't seen it. It's a chap from Derek,
trailer,
right?
I thought it looked good.
Yeah, he's in Derek. Yeah. The guy that's he's I was going to compare him to somebody else. I forgot my name, so the point of the reference is
But this
gone.
is his shtick, right? He's the hard... Like in Derek and Afterlife, the Ricky Gervais series, he's in both of those. Yes. He plays very similar characters. He's really gross down on his luck. Like in one of them, he's more pervy. In one of them, he's more of a drunk. But I'm assuming he carries that shtick forward.
Kind of, yeah. No, he's not. There's not the perviness. There's not the sweetness. There's not the drunkenness. He's very much just a bit of a reclusive, kind of. He's got a simple life. He kind of lives on his own. He kind of loses it loses the negative parts that he has in those characters. So you can kind of side with him more.
But does it keep the positive? Because that's what I like. Yeah, that's what I like about that guy. Yeah. He's got something there's something behind that shit. And I don't know if that's like the right... I've never seen him in anything else. So I wasn't sure if that was Gervais's writing for because he can write good characters, or if it was just this dude's like thing that he just has there's something behind the eyes, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. He kind of...
What do you recommend? Matthew?
Well, this is like... I'm not going to go long, but I could go long. I'm actually going to recommend, and I did not expect to recommend this, Ahsoka, a Star Wars story.
Ooh.
Because I have just watched all of it, and I love it. But it has the world's biggest caveat, right? This old mate with the cowboy hat has gone, you know what I'm going to do? Just everyone sit down for a second. I just want to make a sequel to Rebels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this entire fucking Disney conglomerate We're going to make this show called The Mandalorian. We're going to do 3 seasons of it. People are going to love it. Anyone who actually likes Star Wars is going to hate it, right? It's not going to be very good. Then we're going to do a really bad Boba Fett show. Then we're going to do all this stuff. We're going to go... All of this is just so I can make a direct sequel to my cartoon no one's watched, Star Wars Rebels. And if you really like that show, which I do, I think it's the best, like maybe some of the best Star Wars that there is, Star Wars Rebels specifically, then you will really like this show. If you've never seen it, you will not grasp a single fucking thing that's happening in this show. Not a single thing. It's a real failure. Like, it's an absolute failure, this show, because no one's going to know what's going on. But I personally really enjoyed it. So I'd make of that what you will. I don't know if that's a recommendation or not.
You know what? I was on the sofa last night, and that was going to bed early, and I was like, I've got an hour, I can watch some stuff. And I was like, I really should put on Ahsoka, because folks are just saying that how good it is, and it does look decent. And I just ended up watching an hour and a half of golf videos on YouTube.
In my
Matt
hotel,
would get the same enjoyment out of it as that, I think.
In my hotel, I watched Bill and Ted 3 again.
Oh, it's great.
That's still a good movie. Bill and Ted 3 is really nice, positive, fun, silly movie. You've not seen Bill and Ted 3? It's as good as the first 2, which is a miracle. They're so dumb. Still, it's great.
Well, I'll watch that before I watch Indiana Jones.
The plot is they need to finally write the magic song that will save the universe, and they decide not to do that. They decide to try and steal it off of their future selves when they have written it. That's the plot.
It's great.
It's pretty good.
Those really girls in it are incredible.
And they just go to meet various future versions of themselves who also haven't written the song.
Okay, all right. Maybe I'll stream really that funny. Or something.
From that'll do us. Director of Galaxy Quest, it's good.
Oh, that's a big one for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's us then, I think.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, that was good. 57 minutes. James, is that short enough for you? We're trying to do a nice, quick one, so we've come in just under the hour. Absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, when I edit it down and folks get 35 minutes and we've said 57 minutes at the end, they'll know we've said something controversial in the middle there.
Yeah, so usually 57 minutes and 29 seconds,
yeah, a lot of the Nolan bashing might need cutting out.
No, we can't cut
he'll
stuff.
be
we
fine.
As long as we'd be fine.
All right, and with that, then, we're off for another week. We'll see you guys roughly the same time next week. Bye-bye.
Ciao. Bye.
Bye.